Howdy, howdy. Just got the metal for the frame of the ramcharger, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this brought into the container, and we can start cutting this stuff up and getting the frame going on the ramcharger. And I'm gonna end up needing a lot of DOM tube, and we're gonna do a cage on the ramcharger and the Dakota as well. Got the metal set up in here, and I can easily pull it out and cut the length that I need. And we got everything else situated from after King of LB. I got to pull the shafts and do warranty because I busted both the ears on that side. That'll be quick and easy. And then I'm gonna start buying parts for that Dana 60 because that 44 can't really hang anymore. Camper's dried off and covered, good to go. Trailer's good. Now we can start getting working on the ramcharger and start making the frame. I've got to start measuring and grinding, and the idea right now is I'm gonna put the frame up close to these boxes, basically right next to where the old body mounts are. So the front ones are gonna get cut up and cut over, and then a plate put in. The frame's gonna run right there, and then I'm gonna take a piece of either 2x2 or a piece of the 2x3 if I have enough, and cut them diagonally and use them as a slotted weld-in angle bracket, kind of like an old body mount, but it's going to be solid mounted. And then I will stitch weld it where I can on the body, but I'll have plenty of spots to throw those weld on body mounts, and I think it's going to be plenty strong. So I'm going to start taking some measurements and get this thing going. But before I go ahead and take measurements, I've got the shafts out of the Dakota, and warranty is on its way, and we should be good to go with that pretty soon. So let me grab the tape measure and start taking some measurements of what I need. I'm dropping all my parts everywhere. No idea where that went. Oh, there it is. Can't lose all my parts. And I'm gonna have to start setting some of this stuff somewhere because my benches are starting to get filled up. So I gotta do a little bit of cleanup as well. Dakota's over here eating the ice. It is a nice and extremely frosty morning, and I think it's time to get the frame laid out for this thing. So I'm finishing up cleaning up some of these spots right here and trimming some stuff back because the frame rails are going to be tucked up against the body. So I'm trying to clear everything out of the way to make it 38 inches wide outside to outside, and then I can get my rails kind of jacked up and set in place to figure out all the angles I need to come up and out and back. So just doing a whole bunch of cleanup right now. I'm not gonna bore you guys with all that, so I will be back with you when I have this cleaned up and start setting the rails in place. Got the underside of the body prepped for the most part, and I have the frame started. So these are the main underneath pieces, and I've made these two pieces for the front, and I've squared them up as close as I can get it, just so I can get it up under there to see how this will all fit. I will do fish plates on both sides and a strip to close this all off, but I need to get this up underneath here to be able to figure out the rear. So I need to see where the tubes will come to and then see the degree I need to be able to do to run it up to this section right here. I've got my really high-tech frame lifting system going on here. Just got to use what you got. So I've got this set up in here. It's not great, it's not horrible, but the back side is a little shorter than what I was anticipating. So I think what I'm gonna do is I could either scrap all of this and make these longer, or I can cut 22s because I don't really need to be tight to the body in this area. I can do 22s and have them brought way up and attached up here, and I'm gonna attach there and there straight back. So I still have an option with that. I was definitely hoping they would come to at least where it bends, but this actually might possibly work out in my favor, so I don't have to do as aggressive of an angle. I did 45s up here because that's what I thought I was gonna need. And like I said, don't worry about this open gap. It's gonna get fish plated and boxed in, so it'll look much better when it's done. But I think this might work. I just got to make sure that this is enough raise on it. Well, I had to go in and grab another battery, even though it said it was at 40%. It's so cold out this morning that it said otherwise. Camera just shut off. So super weird. But I am going to go ahead and pull the frame back down, clearance the few little spots that I need to, and then we're gonna put this back up in here and go from there. I gotta see if I can get a hold of Jason at Trail Demon Fabrication and see if I can have him make me some fish plates for all this area. I'll mark it out in cardboard and get some really gnarly fish plates for this area and for the back. And that will save me a whole boatload of time because I don't have a plasma cutter, and to do it with a cutoff wheel, not fun. Not fun at all. So might be the next thing I buy is a plasma cutter. But let's go ahead and drop this frame, get that cleaned up, and shove her back up in there. Well, it's starting to get a little late and everything is starting to freeze again. Not that we had enough sun to thaw everything out, but I've got all of my pieces cut for the frame rails. Got them all sitting right in here. We're gonna get back to this tomorrow when it's a little bit warmer. It's a wee bit cold. I'm gonna have to get some fuel. I have a jet heater that might help me out here, but I'll see you guys in the morning. And just like that, it is the next morning. So I'll show you a better perspective of the pieces that I've cut out. So these are the two uprises for the rear. These two right here are the two legs going straight out back. These are my two front rails, and these are just some after cuts I might use for the weld-in body mounts, but I'm not sure yet. I kind of want these to be a little bit bigger. So I have some leftover material, so I can make a bunch of my own that I want. But I also got to make a bunch of fish plates, like I mentioned before. But everything's still sitting here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the welder out so I can tack these pieces in place, the uprises, and then see kind of where I'm at with the other rails as well. So we're gonna go ahead and see what we can't do today. Everything is still frozen and doesn't seem like it's gonna thaw out, so just gonna have to deal with it. So the trailer is pretty much the best flat spot that I have. to weld because the container's floor is a little wonky. So trailer is making it do. So that's the front, this is the rear. So back here you can see it's dropped down a little bit. I'm gonna chop that, that'll get plated in, and then there's gonna be big fish plates that go in here that will probably run here all the way up and out. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for the front, but I'm gonna keep this gap. This is gonna get enclosed in, and it's gonna be a nice big thick fish plate through here, and then same thing for this side because there's gonna be a lower gap here. So this will be extremely rigid once it's done, but right now it's just mock-up and making sure everything is square. So the frame is gonna be 38 inches wide, and my bars from outside to outside is 38 inches. This I'm gonna have to tweak in a little bit. We're about a quarter over. The front is pretty much perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what material I have to do some fish plates and see if I'm gonna cut them out myself. It's gonna be extremely time consuming and it's gonna really suck. But we're gonna see what we can do. I think it's this one that needs to be tweaked back in place. This one needs to be moved over, so I might try to tap this in place and weld it a little bit more. This one looks pretty much dead on, so I'm gonna go ahead and tap this over and see if I can't throw a few more tacks and get this one straight. Got the frame back underneath here, everything is clearing good. I would like it to follow the body line a little bit better, but it's not that big of a deal. So I have a scrap piece right here, and with this set all the way up against on both ends, obviously I still have to go all the way through. It lines up pretty good on the pipe. I will have to do some capping ever so slightly. This I'll probably be able to chop and just weld up. So what I'm gonna do is I need to take the rest of these old body mount bolts out real quick in the rear, and then I can come back here, clean this all up so it's truly flat, and tack these up in place to this rail. Obviously not this piece. I have the full 5-footers, so I will have to get a little bit ingenious because I don't know if tack welds will be enough to kind of hold it in place. So we'll have to see. This is all mock-up stage. I'm not fully welding anything yet. I'm welding it enough for it to be sturdy, and that's about it. There's gonna be a lot that goes into this. None of the body mounts are even gonna be welded until I start thinking about doing boat sides and Frenching it all into the body, and then I can tie the cage in. But once I get the boat sides going, I'll feel a lot more comfortable welding the body in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this stuff up, knock these guys off of both sides and the back, and I'm gonna have to do a notch straight back because the rails are gonna go out through the back for us to do a bumper later on. So let me get this going and I'll show you what I got. So after kind of contemplating a few things, I've got the back somewhat prepped. And the idea for the back is these two spots right here are closer to the floor than this joist and these spots back here. So there's going to be some notching for both of these, and the rail's probably going to come out somewhere right here, and I'll be doing some chopping and some plating and some like boat sides in a sense on both back corners. And I will also have to notch a little bit out of the door in the spot where the rail is going to come through, so the door will close through the rail. But I've decided, just like I did the rear, I did 2 35-degree cuts at 1 foot length, and that brings the rail, I think it's about 6 to 6.5 inches above the base rail. I think I'm going to do that for the front as well. I'm going to take these dual 45s off because this is only about a 4.5 inch difference, and I'm not too fond of the angle with the body. So I'm gonna do 235-degree cuts and bring it up a foot. That will follow the body a lot better and come and clear right past this pinch weld for the body. And then I'll have the rail come straight out from there. These look much better at a 35-degree cut at 1 foot. I like that way better than the 245s that I had. So these rails will stick up a little bit higher and come straight out. And it should be pretty close to the same height gain as the rear. It might be about 1/2 inch to 1 inch difference because this one is welded down below, not raised up like the front is. So now I think I'm gonna pull this back out and I'm gonna go ahead and weld, or I should say tack, the main rails front and back onto this so that I can actually set this under here. And before I do that, I think I might mark the rear out and get this all cut. I'll set a piece of scrap up here and see if I can't mark this and the back and do my cuts where I need them, so then I can get the frame to actually sit up in. So let's see if we can't get this all in place. It's a little hard when you don't have like an actual jig or anything and you're just using one jack. So let's see what I can do about getting these in the back and getting them marked up. Well, now that the sun's kind of coming out, I've got the front rails tacked in place kind of heavily, and then I'm putting a front spreader bar like I did for the rear, or I should say the center section, so it stays 38 inches outside to outside. And then we can go ahead and flip this around or drag it forward and put the rear rails on. And this is all still mock-up. And then I can start doing fish plates. If everything stays square in the way it needs to be, I can put fish plates, and then we can kind of put it back under the truck and start getting some stuff cut out and make room for it to actually get stuffed up and start making body mounts possibly. But I still have boat sides and all other stuff to do. And then this will get, this is the bottom side, this will get a lower cradle for everything as well. Lots and lots of X bracing everywhere I can do it so that this frame doesn't get twisted at all. So trailer's working out as good as it is for a flat surface to build this frame. Frame is off the trailer and back underneath the ramcharger. And these front frame rails are definitely too long, but I'm going to keep them like that. They're too long because I cut them before I decided to change this up. So these are sticking out quite a bit farther. These will probably get chopped somewhere around here, but we'll figure that out when we get the motor and transmission back in. And back here, I still have to do a lot of notching, and the frame still needs to be raised up quite a bit. But the frame is there and it is coming out the back, so it sticks out quite a bit. But this will be probably up in this section right here once it's brought all the way up. So we'll do a partial notch and then I'll do a little box in so the door closes around this. But all in all, the frame is at least mocked up. So this is a good start. I got to start making all of my fish plates next to plate all of this and box everything in and close it all up. And all the tubes that will be added for the cage and then the boat sides will stiffen this whole frame up a whole bunch. So I'm not too worried about rigidity right now, but I need to get this thing strong enough so then I can move all of my jacks underneath the frame and make all my tie-ins for the body. And then I can do the boat sides. Well, I think this is going to be about it for this video. Got the frame mocked up, Next video, I'm gonna do the frame fish plates, and we're gonna get the body mounted to the frame. So I'm gonna do all my wedge pieces like I was talking about, and we're gonna get this thing going. And I got enough scrap material here to make some wedges, however I decide to make them, for the frame to body. So we'll go ahead and use what I have here to make the weld-on body mounts. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying, and I'll see you guys next time.